Hello students, I hope you all are fine. Today let us discuss with the next topic, that is the 4G networks in the mobile networking. So in our previous video we have already covered with the 3G networks. We have seen what are the data transfer rate in case of the 3G, where it is providing with a 384 kilobits per second at the pedestrian speed and 128 kilobits per second when we are moving in the car, and then it is experiencing with the 2 megabits per second data transfer speed in case of the fixed fixed applications like at homes or the offices, maybe by using the Wi-Fi facility or by the broadband facility. So let us move on to the next generation, that is the currently using generation. We are actually using the 4th generation of our mobile handsets. Okay, so before the 4G had come into existence, based upon 3 characteristics this 4G was being actually implemented. What were those 3 characteristics so that the 4G was being developed? The first one is support for multiple applications and services. This means that the application should be designed in such a way that the application should support for unicasting, multicasting and the broadcasting. Unicasting means there is only one source and one destination where the communication takes place, and the relationship here would be source and destination, that is 1 to 1. I can say an example with the communication between your TV remote and the TV. So your TV remote is acting as a sender, right? And to how many TV? Only to the one TV it can send the signal, and your TV is acting as a receiver. So there is one-to-one connection between your TV and the remote. So application should be designed in such a way that it is supporting for such kind of unicasting communication, and it should also support for the multicasting communication. Multicasting means where there is one source and a group of destination. The relationship here is with 1 to many. That means, for an example, the communications between the radio station and your home. Say for example, there is one radio station and it will start propagating its radio signals. So the wherever the antennas are there at your home or something, they will actually they will grasp those signals, and you will be able to experience the radio signals. Okay, you can get switched on to the different channel like this. You are not the only one who receives the radio signal. There may be many people who might be simultaneously using the radio signals. That means your radio station is or radio antenna act as only one sender, and all the number of customers or the number of users at the same time is acting as a receiver. Now what is the relationship between them is 1 to many. This is what application should be designed in such a way that it should also support, whenever there is a data transmission, it should support for unicasting, multicasting plus the broadcasting. Broadcasting is nothing but one to all communication. Say for an example, live cricket show is going on, that is one to all, irrespective of whichever part you are into the world. Okay, whichever part you are world. So the live cricket show, it is with no matter different countries, though you belong to that country or no, even though in your country also that live telecast will be going on. So means once to all communication. Or example I can give, a host can send the packets to all the hosts in an internet. Okay, internet doesn't have any geographical spread, right? We cannot imagine what is the boundaries of internet. That may be n number of users. So such kinds of data transmission also should support. That is what support for multiple application. And also services. Services means when the applications are being designed, they also see to that there is an enforcement of service level agreements. Now what is the service level agreements is nothing but they are for the privacy and security purpose. Okay, usually this service level agreement, it is actually the commitment between a service provider and the client for the services like quality, availability, responsibility, that are agreed between the internet service provider and the user. For example, I can say in 4G, moreover we are using the internet connection. So actually there are two persons who come into picture here, the internet service provider ISP and the telephone communication companies. We are using the telephone lines. Ultimately your data or the internet is being carried by the telephone rights, right? So there is a service level agreement between the ISP and the telephone services. Suppose if the cables are damaged because of the weather condition, if there is a loss of data, okay, and then delay sensitive. If any delay takes place, whenever the data transmission takes place between the source and the destination, if there is a loss of data, okay, such kinds of responsibility or such kinds of terms will be there in the service level agreement, which will be the actually commitment between the internet service provider and the client. So applications are not only supporting for the different functionality, but they also come under with the service level agreements in order to see to that your network is completely supported with those particular applications. Next important characteristic is quality of services, which is very, very important. So here it says that it supports for the application of admission control and scheduling algorithm regardless of underlying infrastructure and operator diversity. Now what exactly this application of admission control? Admission control is nothing but the validation process. See, before you get connected to the other end, before you get connected to the destination, or before you transfer any kind of data, so the validation process will be taking place in the communication system, where the check is being performed before the connection is established to see that resources are sufficient for the proposed connection. Okay, if suppose for an example, you are asking for the Facebook .com, that web page, if you are asking for, but before they transfer any kind of data, admission control will be checked for. It's a validation process. They will actually, whenever you give for your email ID and the password, at the end it will go to the server and they perform the validation whether you are the genuine user or no by checking your password. This is what is your admission control, and based upon the scheduling algorithm it will deliver the packets. One example, this scheduling algorithms is nothing but it actually sees for the first come first serve basis, it will serve the data. Think that at your home 5 users are there, and all the 5 people are connected to the Wi-Fi and all are accessing the YouTube. They are watching some videos. So whenever the data packets reaches to your home Wi-Fi, so they have to start providing their services to the 5 users, right? To which user first it should provide the data. That is all based upon the first come first serve. This first come first serve, how it is deciding? It is using certain scheduling algorithms. Okay, so in quality of services, they also check for the admission control, which is a validation process, and it will provide the service based upon the scheduling algorithm based regardless of any kind of infrastructure you are using. Suppose if you are a mobile user, or suppose if you are a laptop user, the data internet will not make any distinguish between the mobile and the laptop. Irrespective of any device you use it will deliver the data based upon the first come first serve. And operator diversity, in the sense whichever operator you are using, if you are a Airtel user, if you are a Jio user, it doesn't make any distinction. Same kind of services will be provided based upon the first come first serve. Okay, next, the third important characteristic based upon what the 4G network had come into existence is about the network detection and the network selection. In 4G, it is possible that you can connect to more than one network at a time. Say for an example here, a mobile terminal, okay, that allows you to have the different kinds of radio technologies that are possibly help the users in order to connect to the multiple networks simultaneously, thereby connecting to the best network. Now how do you decide which is the best networks among the all networks? It is based upon the service parameters like cost, quality of services, and the capacity for the application. I can give an example like how you can decide the network detection and the network selection. Suppose if you are having your mobile internet, maybe you have turned on that Wi-Fi facility. Immediately your mobile will give a pop-up message that a new Wi-Fi network has been detected. Now this is what is network detection. Though your mobile is having the internet connection, but still your mobile is helping you to find out the network detection. What are the other networks around your mobile or around your area or network. Then it also help you to select the network, like whether you have to use your internet or whether you have to use an open Wi-Fi network, which you would prefer for. Usually we prefer for the open Wi-Fi network. Based on what you are deciding that Wi-Fi would be the best one rather than using your own mobile data is based upon the cost, based upon the quality of services. Quality of services means your uploading and the downloading speed will be very high in case of the Wi-Fi comparatively to your mobile phone. So based upon this, in 4G it will help us to connect to the more than one network based upon the by detecting the network around you and by selecting the good network based upon the quality of service. And it also performs the eligibility of a terminal and validation of the configuration. That means suppose when your mobile phone detects a Wi-Fi connection, it performs the eligibility test, okay, and also performs the validation. What is this validation or the eligibility test is? So when you try to connect to that Wi-Fi, isn't it is asking you the password, network security password. Only when you provide the correct password or the correct key to that network, then only it will allow you to connect to that good network. Okay, this is nothing but the validity or the eligibility test which your mobile phone or your computer or your desktop computer or your laptop may undergo. So these were the three characteristics based upon which the 4G network had come into existence. And in case of the 4G, we are going to experience almost 14 megabits per second download speed. Okay, 14 megabits per second download speed. At the peak, we may experience about even 50 megabits per second also, depending upon which broadband or Wi-Fi or whichever operator you are selecting, and it also depends upon the cost also, which plan you are getting recharged with. So up to maximum 50 megabits per second, whereas 3G was supporting for 2 megabits per second high data speed, whereas here downloading speed itself is almost about 14 megabits per second to 20 megabits per second. Also, it depends upon which plan you are getting with recharge. So this was all about the 4G. Now let us continue with the next generation, that is the 5G mobile networks. So this 5G mobile networks, it is yet to be implemented. Okay, we are not completely into 5G, so the test and the experiments upon the 5G networks are still going on. So let us see some of the what are the key features of this 5G networks. So this actually 5G technology stands for the 5th generation of mobile technology. So this 5G actually promises to provide the very high bandwidth capacity. If there is a high bandwidth capability, in the sense there would be more data transfer rate, and now they are able to say that at least 5G is providing the data transfer rate up to 1 GB. Okay, 1 GB. So before now we are into 4G, it was it is providing from 14 megabits per second to 20 megabits per second. But in case of 5th generation, they are saying that data transfer rate may reach to 1 GB. It's a very high data transfer rate. Okay, so let us move on to the key concept based upon which this 5G networks have been may design or may get implemented in the future days. Okay, so next first one is that real wireless world with no more limitations with access and zone issues. See, when the 5th generation of mobile networks come into existence, there would be no any access and the zone issues. Now what is this zone issues? Okay, like for example, usually we are experiencing a good mobile network in the urban areas rather than the rural areas. Though we are in the 4th generation also, there are certain rural areas where they may not experiencing some of the mobile networks except the BSNL. Okay, so in such case, whenever we are into 5th generation, we don't have any kind of access or the zone issues, no matter it is urban or the rural areas. Next, coming to the second key concept, it is wearable devices with the artificial intelligence capabilities. That means, see, in this 4th generation, we have certain devices which works upon artificial intelligence, like digital watches we are having, and we get certain devices that actually counts your heartbeat rate. It will actually show your BP, sugar. So by itself it will monitor. You need not to go for doctor and get it checked. Just by that you just give certain samples. So by using the artificial intelligence which has been already been coded into that device, it will work. So many such devices may come into existence in the fifth generation, which are wearable. Wearable means we can wear it and then we may check. Okay, so like this, for example, as now the digital watches have come into existence. This digital watches will actually measure the heartbeat rate, right? Okay, it will tell you daily how many steps you have walked, right? It will give you what are the any incoming calls. If you are unable to take, you can see it in your digital watch itself, which is that call is being coming. What are the text messages also you can see in your digital watches. Okay, these all things you can do it in digital watches. Like this, many such devices may come into existence in the fifth generation, and currently we are using the IPv4 internet protocol, that is internet protocol version 4 we are using, which is a 32-bit address it is. I hope by this time you know what is IP address and how a IP address look like. Same way, in the fifth generation, we are going to use around IPv6, that is Internet Protocol version 6, because many devices will come into existence which all will get access for the internet connection. If more number of devices come into existence for accessing internet, obviously we need a big number of addressing. We need to address the large number of devices. So for that sake, we are using the higher version, that is IPv6. So this IPv6 can you assign a unique IP address by the according to the location and the which network you are connected. For an example, I can say you IP addresses usually changes, or you can also say it's a logical address. Okay, say for example, now I am in college, I am using the Prerna network. That means depending upon my location, which location I am into, and depending upon which network I have connected, I'll be having one IP address. As soon as I come to home, I'll get connected to my Wi-Fi facility at my home. So then my IP address changes depending upon depending upon the location and depending upon which network I have connected to. Like this, IP address is nothing but a unique address is being given to the devices which are getting connected to the internet. As many devices may come into existence in the fifth generation which will seek for the internet connection, it may use the IP, that is Internet Protocol version 6. Okay. Next one key concept, it is one unified global standard. That means when the fifth generation come into existence, almost all this 3G, still 3G networks are going on along, though we are in the 4G also, 3G still it's going. Some mobile users are even using the 3G. So once the fifth generation will come, it becomes a global standard. So all this 3G, 4G will be, maybe those networks will not be into much existence. Next one important key concept is that pervasive networks providing ubiquitous computing. That means here in fifth generation, it will allow the user simultaneously to be connected to the several wireless access technologies. That means several different networks it will allow you to connect, and it will allow you to seamlessly move between them. That means you can immediately, without having a connection problem, you can easily get connected to the different networks simultaneously. Maybe you are having your mobile internet connection, same time Wi-Fi connection you are having. It will allow, without any interruption, it will allow you easily to get connected onto the Wi-Fi and to the mobile network without having any kind of interruption. Now if you want to use mobile network, you can easily switch from Wi-Fi to the mobile. If you want to change from mobile network to the Wi-Fi, you can easily switch on. Like this kind of characteristics is called as pervasive networks providing ubiquitous computing. That means it will allow the users to use the different kinds of wireless access technologies. Okay, then next is the cognitive radio technology. Cognitive radio technology is nothing but, so there would be many radio technology technologies which may come into existence in the fifth generation, which can also be called as the smart radio. Okay, and the radios which come into existence in the fifth radio technology, that would be software based also. Okay, so this cognitive radio technology allows you to have the different radio technology to share the same spectrum efficiently by using the or by finding any unused spectrum if it is there. Say, what is this spectrum and all? Like we have studied already this in the CDMA. I'll give an example and I'll explain you with this one. So in case of CDMA, what we are having, we are using the same spread spectrum technology, where the multiple users are sharing the same spectrum. Suppose if the frequency is about 200 megahertz, that means each user is getting the 200 megahertz frequency in order to send the data. Whereas in case of GSM, that 200 megahertz actually it is being divided into 8 time slots. Okay, so each one is getting how much? 25 megahertz. 200 divided by 8 means each one is getting 25 megahertz capacity to send their data. So obviously the data transfer rate will be less. So in case of fifth generation, a smart radio would come into existence that makes use of the different kinds of radio technology that will allow you to share the same spectrum. That means, for an example, if there is a carrier size is about, if or the carrier size or the channel size, if it is 200 megahertz, if your sending data is hardly about 100 megahertz, then obviously there would be a loss of 100 megahertz again. So radio which will come into existence, it will detect if there is any unused spectrum or unused space is there in your frequency. If so, it will make use of those unused spectrum and it will allow multiple users to get connected to by using these radio technologies. Okay, and they may be, so this kind of dynamic radio resource management which will be achieved, and it might be software based defined radio also. I hope you are understanding. Cognitive radio technology is nothing but it's a kind of a smart radio technology that will allow the multiple users to get to the radio technology by using the complete channel. Complete channel means if your channel is of 500 megahertz means it will use 500 megahertz. If in case if there are 5 instead of 500 megahertz, if it is 450 megahertz, it will detect even that unused frequency range, it will detect and it will utilize it in a proper and efficient way. This is all about the cognitive radio technology. And the next one important key concept is about the high altitude stratospheric platform station system, that is HAPS. You can see here in this slide. So this is the fifth generation smartphone which may come into existence in the future generation, and this is what is high altitude stratospheric platform station systems. Now these are nothing but the reusable unmanned aeronautical vehicles, that is UAV, that is unmanned aeronautical vehicles. So these will be at the stratospheric altitudes of the earth. You know what is stratosphere, stratosphere, hemisphere in the earth, right? So it will be placed at the stratospheric altitudes that offer an alternative satellite telecommunication system. Why these HAPS are being used? Suppose now when we are coming into the fifth generation, everything has been going to getting converted to the internet. All the devices will get connected to the internet. Okay, so if more usage of internet is there means we are going to extensively use the satellite communication also. If at any time satellite communication fails, then these HAPS may come into existence. They are the unmanned vehicles. You need to just implement the software into it and they will act as an alternative to the satellite communication. Whatever the satellite perform, same thing they may perform. So by this implementing such kinds of systems, we may reduce the amount of implementation in satellite communication, because the cost and implementation is very high in case of satellite communication. Instead, we can rely on such kinds of devices which may come into existence in the fifth generation. One example I will give you. how the all the devices are may get connected to the internet. See, though we are in the 4G, think that suppose if you are traveling somewhere and if you'll go for a lodge for to stay for some time, so they are nowadays they are giving one smart card, right? So if you go to your particular room, okay, if you go to a particular room, you swipe that card outside from your room. As soon as you step in, lights, fans automatically get it automatically they will get on. Now how these are working, it is all based upon the software. Okay, they are all connected over to the internet. Now just by your mobile phone you can control the AC. Okay, you can increase the AC, you can decrease the AC. That's all depending upon the software. So like this, many devices in the 5th generation will just operate based upon the internet. Now if you are outside at home and if you have forgot some to off the lights at your home, being outside only you can control the lights at your home, you can off it. So all these kind of technologies may come into existence in the 5th generation. So these is nothing but cognitive radio technologies. Okay, pervasive network, you're providing ubiquitous computing. That means you are seamlessly connecting to the different networks you may connect and you may operate the devices. These are all the key concepts of the 5th generation. I hope the 4G and the 5th generation key concepts are clear to you. So in our next video we are going to discuss about the features of the 5th generation technology.